Good day, Minecraftians. Purple Mentat here, bringing you episode 34 of my Agrarian Skies Hardcore Quest Let's Play. This game pack by Jadedcat is available on the Feed the Beast launcher. Never thought we'd get quite this far. I mean, 34 episodes, darn near 1,000 subscribers. Really enjoying things so far. Thanks a lot for all of your support. Last time, I upgraded my Blood Altar to Tier 4. Still have that villager auto spawner supplying me with lots and lots of blood essence. So this time I'm going to get into blood magic alchemy. But first I want to deal with a couple of quests. Between one of these episodes recently, I finished the soybean quest, which I showed, but I also finished the vinegar quest, as I had that vinegar production and automated turn-in set up. This gets me a full heart, a strong box, and a reward bag, bringing me to 52 lives after my most recent string of awful. The strong box contains 32 ethereal bloom, 32 shimmer leaf, and 32 cinder pearl. So if you're looking to get into Thaumcraft, your best bet is to finish that vinegar quest in Hell's Kitchen first, because that is awesome. Ooh, I haven't actually scanned any of these yet. Let's fix that before we move on. The Ethereal Bloom, I don't believe is used in this version of the pack. It's normally used to remove taint from the world. And you can see that there's a lot of taint and a lot of healing and a lot of magic in that. Really good research. I'm going to put those in my Thaumcraft chest over here. Then we'll check out what's in that reward bag. This is an epic reward bag, and contained for me a potion flask of flight for 20 minutes. This is one of those blood magic potions. If I get that far, I will show you how to make your own flight potion this episode. So at 20 minutes, well, 19 minutes, with 8 swigs to it, that's, roughly 2.5 hours worth of flight time. Blood magic can actually do better than that for flying too. Further on the quest chain, I noticed that I have enough wood to complete the For the Hoarding quest. Punch tree, get blisters. Requires 100,000 logs. Now, you may notice there's more For the Hoarding quests than you're used to seeing. There's also, just in general, a reorder of the quest list. I am currently on version 2.1.2. 2.1.2 is considered a stable release version. Here's your changelog. As you can see, it contains Code Chicken Core, Chicken Chunks, NEI, Island Builder, Tinker's Construct, and Wayla updates, as well as hoppers being added to the multiplayer default map. What this means is now you should be able to consider the map stable. If you've been waiting for a stable version to play, now's the time. And we should not see any further resets on quest progress or accidental deletion of worlds or anything of that sort. I mean, no guarantees. Any mod pack is fraught with potential issues. But Jadedcat was confident enough to call this version stable. Now, you may have also noticed I have a comparator in my inventory. I'm actually going to want another one of those. They're fairly simple to make. Some quartz, some stone, some redstone torches. And I'm going to be using these to help me complete the quests. Because the quest delivery system, if you put a comparator down, facing away from it, and you set that comparator to comparator mode, let me set down some redstone and a torch to show you what this will do. It will output a redstone signal as long as there is a quest bound to it. I don't actually need the torch. I don't know why I grabbed it. I guess I wanted to try to show you the, had turned the torch off. But it's been so long since I've messed with vanilla redstone mechanics that I set it up wrong. In subtractor mode, it also outputs, because it's reading that from the quest delivery system that, hey, there's an active quest here. If I were to pick that block up, set it back down, because I pick things up and put them down, it no longer is outputting a redstone signal through the comparator. What this means is I can go ahead and open up the For the Hoarding quests, and I can set it to punch tree get blisters. And now it will output a redstone signal as long as that's set. And as you know, as soon as a quest delivery system hits 100% complete, the quest is wiped off of it. It's no longer shown, which means this will output a redstone signal until this quest is complete, at which point it will stop outputting a redstone signal. I'm going to use that with some rednet cable. That is not rednet cable, that is ME covered cable. My rednet cable is right there. I'm going to set the cable there, and I'm going to string it back to that precision export bus. And I'm going to set every other connection to ignored, so it does not connect. Because I don't want stray redstone signals all over the place. That's why you use rednet cable. It only applies redstone exactly where you tell it to. That is now reading from the comparator and applying it to the precision export bus, which I will tell it to only be active with a signal. Now, if I give it an oak wood log, as you can see, I have over 100,000, plenty enough to finish that quest. The precision export bus will start dumping oak wood logs into this chest, which will feed into the quest delivery system. And it will automatically stop feeding the oak wood into the chest as soon as the quest is complete. You know what? It helps if you don't have this set to output. There we are. That will actually go fairly quickly. And yeah, I'll spend an extra chest's worth of oak wood on this. I don't care. I have so much oak wood. Upstairs, I have a similar system set up for the toast quest. If I go take a look at Hell's Kitchen, I need 10,000 toast. I've already completed 3,000 of it as I was testing this system. I have almost 13,000 potatoes, or I did when I started this. And if you saw earlier, I taught my system how to make flour from potatoes and then dough out of the flour. This export bus is set to send dough. Yeah, we'll have it move items or craft. It is going to be active with signal into this redstone furnace, and this redstone furnace will output into this redstone furnace. So dough will go in here, get turned into bread, which will get put into here, get turned into toast, which will get tossed into the toasty bread quest delivery system. Now I just set up the same system again with the comparator on either comparator or subtractor mode, does not matter. And I set up my rednet cable going back to the precision export bus. Simple as that. And now I go figure out why it's not exporting. Because I'm telling it to export dough. It should be exporting dough. It is not exporting dough. I may need to just relog. Be right back. Yep, a quick log out and log back in, and everything's working again. Everything was configured properly. It just derped for a moment. AE does that sometimes, and the only solution that I've found is to log out and log back in. Potentially I could break a block on the MAC and reform it. So there we have it. I've got 2 quests that are going to process and turn themselves in. Also, I wanted to finish up the Steelworks quests, because the only quest I have left in Steel Power is the Deep Tank. You can see things got reorganized a bit. And to make the finish the Deep Tank quest, I need to make the Deep Tank controller, which is a very simple recipe involving 1 lapis and a handful of scorched brick, which I have plenty left over. And that's all there is to it. I get my reward, which is another 1/4 of a heart. I don't believe I have any other heart pieces. I'll have to track down some more quest that gives small bits of hearts, so I can complete that. I also get a good reward bag, which contains a boat. This boat has feather falling 3. Again. So I'm just going to dump this deep tank controller into the smeltery and high oven chest, along with the scorched brick. And I'm going to dump the boat into the quest rewards mechanics chest. I did separate out the mechanical quest rewards from the cosmetical? That is so not a word. Cosmetic quest rewards. I believe one of the quests called for Amaranth Stairs, or some such. Wasn't it Purple Madness and For the Hoarding? Let's take a look. That quest reward might help me complete another quest. I need 100,000 amaranth planks. Never mind, 64, not going to cut it. Let's see, what new quests do we have? Digital storage. Construct a whole bunch of applied energistic stuff I've already made. Oh boy, so you guys let me know what you think, if I should just edit myself to complete that. I don't have a use for making another pattern provider, crafting CPU, heat vent, pattern encoder, containment wall, blank pattern, and I certainly don't want to do it all by hand because I have the ability to do it all by my MAC, which this is trying to convince me to create. I mean, it even tells me to make an ME assembler in the quest text. So let me know if I should just kind of cheat to complete that one. New Learning to Skyblock quest. A couple of new Learning to Skyblock quests. It wants me to craft a steam dynamo. Blast. That's simple enough. May as well clear these out. And I will never ever use that block, but it gets me a reward bag and a half a heart. Yay, more blackberry corn and lettuce seeds. I think I may have broken someone's sarcasm meter with that yay. Oh, am I back to 100% learning to skyblock? I am. So that was the only new one. It just caused this one to appear to be uncompletable because it existed. Still, a good addition. This is actually a very thorough tutorial at this point. Pretty happy about it. One important thing of note, you'll notice that Wayla is working with thermal expansion again. That is thanks to a very quick Wayla update from Professor Mobius. Once thermal expansion released its bug fixes, he went back and made an update to the 1.6 version of Wayla, even though he seems to be focused primarily on 1.7 mod development at the moment. Most of the other quests are unchanged, just reorganized. So let's get started on Blood Magic Alchemy. I'm going to need my orbs. I'm not even certain which orbs I need for this specifically, so I'm just going to grab a few. You'll note that if I grab my divination sigil, which I can't seem to find, search mode from NEI is fantastic. You can double click on the bar to turn the bar yellow, and if you type in the name of something, it will highlight those items in whatever inventory you are currently examining. You can see I have gotten myself up to 1 million LP in my network. I have 10,000 in the altar just kind of hanging out. And I have acquired 69 weak blood shards. I have also created 65 blank slates, 72 reinforced slates, 63 imbued slates, and 11 demonic slates. Demonic slates are the upgrade of the imbued slate for 15,000 LP each, where the imbued slates are the upgrade of the reinforced slate for 5,000 LP each. I figured you've seen me do some of this stuff. This is boring. Let me get it out of the way off camera so we can get into the meat of the alchemy this episode. Oh, I want blood magic. I need to craft. Where is it? That guy. The Alchemic Chemistry set, which requires a brewing stand, the weak blood orb, and a couple of obsidian. Very simple. One brewing stand. And one weak blood orb. Makes me an alchemic chemistry set. I'm going to tuck this guy into this corner over here. So the alchemic chemistry set is a somewhat complicated device. To use it, you need a bunch of reagents in the sides and at least a weak blood orb in the middle. In the lower right hand corner. Sometimes you need higher level blood orbs to make better items. For example, this greater lengthening catalyst, which you can hold shift on any of the catalysts and such from Blood Magic to see the recipe for them. There's also an NEI version. It requires 3000 LP and either a Master Blood Orb, an Archmage's Blood Orb. Oh, those are the only two. You have to have a Master or Archmage's Blood Orb to make the greater lengthening catalyst. It takes 2 average lengthening catalysts and an Aqua Salis, which is made with an ink sac and a bunch of water bottles. NEI integration helps this out quite a bit. So you'll be able to look up any of the recipes that you want to use. And you can also look up, oh, what does this guy use to make? Well, I can make an enhanced filling agent. I can make a awakened activation crystal. More on this later. I can make an imbued runic plate. More on that later. I can make the greater lengthening catalyst. That's the best kind of lengthening catalyst. So because I have the resources, I'm going to skip straight to the end of Blood Magic Alchemy and show you how I can make a really, really freaking cool potion. The alchemic chemistry set is used for creating reagents for demon summoning, for rituals, the really high level ones, and for spell creation, which is a really fantastic component of this mod that's going to require a couple of episodes of its own. But today I just want to show you how to create potions like that flight potion and that regen potion I have up there. First thing I'm going to want is to make myself a greater power catalyst. That's going to require some Incendium as a first step, which requires a simple catalyst. Let me start grabbing the resources I need, and I can go through this, all of the steps, in order, fairly quickly most likely. Be right back. So step 1 with Blood Magic Alchemy. The most basic component of almost anything is the simple catalyst. I believe everything requires the simple catalyst. Even the strengthened catalyst uses 2 simple catalysts. To make this simple catalyst, you need redstone on the left and right, sugar on the top, glowstone in the lower left, and gunpowder in the lower right, and you need 200 LP. So I'm just going to make myself a whole bunch of these because I have 1,000,000 LP in my network. Why not? All I need to do, put everything in there, and you can see that it starts processing. If I grab my divination sigil, which I've misplaced again, I put it back in the chest, didn't I? It's a good place for it. In any case, you can see that it's processing each of the components into simple catalyst. Now I need to be careful using this sort of process because it can actually start to damage me if I run low on LP. If I get down to the point where I don't have the LP in my network, it will start draining straight from me, from my Master Blood Orb, because I'm the owner of this Master Blood Orb, and it will drain 1 heart per 200 LP. That could kill me pretty quickly. So I'm going to let these simple catalysts brew up, and I'm actually going to make myself a handful of extra chemistry sets so I can get a number of processes going at the same time. Back in a mo. As you can see, I set up 5 more alchemical chemistry sets. I also brought along my lava barrel, or lava drum, because I'm going to need a bucket of lava for one of the recipes that I'm using. I'm going to grab my Master Blood Orb out of this, leave the weak blood orb in, because simple catalysts can use the weak blood orb just as easily as anything else. So here, I'm going to set up the Incendium recipe, which uses the Apprentice or Better blood orb, simple catalyst, netherrack, 2 blaze powder, and a lava bucket. Lava bucket on top. I don't know if the order matters as much as I seem to be making it, so let's find out. It does. You must place things in the exact slots that you are requested to. I will show you the recipes. Oh, or maybe I'm a derp and forgot to put my blood orb in there. One of those. So this can be made with the Apprentice blood orb. And it looks like it does not require specific placement. Fantastic. There's my Incendium. So I can use the Incendium with 2 average power catalysts. To make an average power catalyst, I need a standard binding agent and 2 mundane power catalysts. I'm going to need 2 of these standard binding agents, which are made with Crystallos, weak binding agent, and Sanctus. Weak binding agent is just a couple of catalysts and clay. The Crystallos is made with ice, snow, and simple catalyst. And the Sanctus is made with glowstone, gold, and glass. As you can see, this is a rather complicated process. I am making a very powerful item here. This is not a beginner item at all. Back in just a moment when I have all of the required resources. Now we get into where having multiple blood orbs becomes really useful. So, ice, snow, and simple catalyst makes 1 component. Gold nugget, glowstone, simple catalyst, and I believe glass makes another component. They process fairly quickly, which is a benefit. And then the last component is simply 2 simple catalysts and 1 clay. Then I combine the 3 components that I just made to create the standard binding agent. And this is just 1 component of what I'm making. So that will give me the bits I need to make the average power catalyst, but I still need 4 mundane power catalysts. And those use more of the weak binding agent, simple catalyst, and glowstone. Be right back when that's done processing. There's your mundane power catalyst recipe. Except to make the mundane power catalyst, I need at least a magician's blood orb. And there you go. Get those 4 cooked up. Here's your recipe for the average power catalyst. I'm just going to leave the master's blood orb and do all of these in one spot now. So that gets me 2 of the average power catalyst, which I can then combine those 2 with a Incendium to make the greater power catalyst. So to make 1 component of a good potion, I had 1 million LP when I started. I now have 964,700. So that cost me 35,300 LP and 21 simple catalysts. I probably could have done it for less LP if I didn't make an entire stack of simple catalysts, but as I said, that was only 1 step along the way. Now, if I want to make a good potion, I need a potion flask. To create a potion flask, it's just some nether wart, glowstone, and redstone. I'm sorry, to create a potion flask, I need to dump a glass bottle into a blood altar. This is to refill a potion flask and reset it to nothing. For example, that regen potion flask upstairs, I could very easily repurpose that, because regen 1 for 6 or 7 minutes, it's kind of neat early on. I feel I've moved past that. Simple as that. I now have a potion flask with 8 swigs left. When you create a potion, it has 8 uses. To put more uses into it without wiping out the effect, you can use a filling agent, I believe. Let me double check on that. That is correct. A weak filling agent will restore 2, a standard filling agent will restore 4, and a enhanced filling agent will restore 6. But as you can see, they require ever greater recipes, ever greater investment of resources. So how do we actually add an effect to this flask? Well, it requires you to grab a potion effect item. For example, you could use the gas tier to add regen. I want some flight, which is going to require feathers. And I think I do want some regen, which I believe uses the gas tiers. So to set this up, I need to use a binding agent. Thought there were better binding agents available. What can you be used to make? Just the catalysts. Well, the standard binding agent might be the best that I have available at the moment, which means that this is going to present some level of risk. To create a potion with multiple effects, you have to add each effect in separately, and every effect past the first has a chance to cause an explosion. So this could get interesting. I'm going to make myself a couple more standard binding agents, and I'll be right back. You know what? I figured I should take this to 11. Why start production when I can start mass production? So I'm going to make myself an entire stack of binding catalysts. And to do that, I'm making myself 4 stacks of standard or simple catalyst. I'm going to make a full stack of standard binding agents. I'm going to let those process. I am investing a lot of LP into this. If I grab my divination sigil, I've already spent 500,000 on this project. I love having that villager spawner up there. It is fantastic. Makes life happy. Once that processes, I'll be back. I got a little bit sick of juggling orbs around, so I went back upstairs and I made myself 5 more Master Blood orbs. Now I have one for every single alchemic chemistry set. I am burning LP like you wouldn't believe. In fact, I am down almost 100,000. When I said 500,000 earlier, I meant 50,000. I can't quite store a billion LP. I don't think you can ever store a billion LP. But, still, things are progressing. I now have 2 of the other components making, the Sanctus and the Crystallos. And this guy is almost done, which will allow me to set up and start creating the weak binding agent. Fantastic. This won't take too much longer, and I will have myself a whole stack of, the weak binding agent. Sometime very soon I will have a full stack of standard binding agents. See you then. Alright, I have a few standard binding agents now. I'm going to take this alchemic chemistry set out here where it's safer because, as I mentioned, there's a chance of explosion. So I'm going to toss in a feather, a gas tier, the potion flask, and the standard binding agent, and this should create me a flight and regen potion. Well, it created me the flight potion. Now let's see about the regen. There may be an explosion. There was an explosion. As you can see, that ate my materials, and now I do not have the flask anymore. So I'm going to go with the idea that regen, not super important to have combined with my flight. I want to show you how to create the flight potion just as good as that one. You know what? I'm going to use 1 swig of this. As you can see, creative flight mode. This is the same potion effect as the flight potions you get from the chest. And it operates exactly like creative flight. I can go, there we go. I can go way up in the air, and as long as that flight effect is on me, I am immune to fall damage. It's pretty fantastic. What do I need? I need some nether wart, some glowstone, and some redstone to reset this to a default potion flask. And I want to do that so that I can show you how to create a very long and powerful potion. So all I need to do is combine the potion flask with the redstone, the glowstone, and the nether wart, and it resets it to a no effect potion flask. Now, if I come over here and add a feather, that weak binding agent, and the flask, there is no chance of explosion for one effect. You only get your explosions when you try to add multiple effects. You can see this gets me 1 minute worth of flight. However, if I were to take that lengthening catalyst and that power catalyst, well, things get different. Putting the potion flask back in there, with the binding agent and such, it is a tempting process again. But there's no change in effect. I need to take the binding agent out, and I need to put in the lengthening catalyst. And I have the greater lengthening catalyst, which with that potion and another feather, changes it from 1 minute to 1857, which is what you saw earlier. If I wanted to make it last even longer, well, I would need another greater lengthening catalyst, I believe is possible. Let's see what happens if I toss the greater power catalyst in with the potion flask and the feather. It's attempting to process. I get Flight 4 for 2 minutes and 22 seconds. I have no idea what Flight 4 does. Maybe it lets me go even faster. That would be pretty fantastic. So, as you can see, once you have this level of resources and, a few 100,000 LP to toss into potion creation, you can make some really neat effects. Every vanilla potion is available, along with a whole bunch of others. I am not going to use a ton of potions because they're just not my style. But if they're something that you enjoy, then go for it. And here, let's see what Flight 4 does. So for 2 minutes and 22 seconds, I have Flight 4, which seems to be exactly the same as Flight 1. So there's no purpose to using your power catalyst on a flight potion. You will simply shorten its duration significantly for no real benefit. The alchemy is a lot of experimentation. You're going to need to play around with things, figure out what you can do, and then figure out how you can enhance them. So I'm going to use everything that I just learned, and I'm going to put together a super potion. It may take me a few tries, but I want to show you, just what's possible if you really go all out. Be right back. So folks, good news and bad news. I've been cooking up a bunch of lengthening and power catalysts to do some more testing and tinkering. Turns out you can only apply one of each catalyst to a particular effect. So the best I can get out of this is 20 minutes of flight and 4 minutes of speed 4, which is an 80% movement speed increase per swig. So let me show you what speed 4 flight does for me. I can cross my world very quickly now. And if I take to the air, it slows me down considerably because now I move at fly speed. But it's still pretty cool. So I get to fly for 20 minutes, and if I need to get the heck away from something, I have that option. Also, because of those refilling agents, this is crazy cool. My computer is hating me right now. I can make myself a refilling agent and restore that swig fairly easily. Perhaps I can't spell, perhaps they can't spell, I can't tell. Oh, it's just filling agent. So the weak filling agent is just a simple catalyst, redstone, nether wart, glowstone. I'll make one of those real quick so you can see how it works. One simple catalyst, one glowstone, one redstone, one nether wart. And it starts processing. Let me tell you something. Mass producing Aquasalis is annoying. So each one of those requires 3 water bottles. And water bottles do not stack. Mass production is a bit of an issue. I think that for this particular map, your best bets are to make the 20-minute flight potion, which is just, you know, let me show you how to make one of those real quick, just so that I'm being 100% clear. So your 20-minute flight potion, which I feel is the most useful possible option on this map since you're skyblock and it will save you from dying a lot, you just need your standard binding agent, a potion flask, and a feather. I'm actually going to need a second feather. Then you add your second feather, that's an average catalyst. I don't want an average catalyst. Feather, greater lengthening catalyst, and the potion changes that from a 1-minute potion to an 18-minute potion. And the fun part is this potion is fairly easy to refill, because if I suck down a swig right now, heck, I'll even suck down 2. Then I grab my weak filling agent, put it in there with the potions flask. It'll start to process, and that will restore 2 swigs without reducing the potency in any way. So there you have it. You have access to infinite flight with alchemic chemistry without much work. And the flight potion has no particle effects on it. And it is pure creative flight mode. The other best option would likely to be to use gas tiers and make yourself a super regen potion. Would require, I believe, 3 gas tiers, an empty potion bottle, which I have upstairs. Who needs elevators? Actually, I can use the, well, you know what? I'm going to show you the whole bit. So you're going to want 3 gas tiers, potion flask, and your binding agent, which I'm terribly disorganized at the moment. I apologize. Then you're also going to need a power catalyst and a lengthening catalyst. However, it shouldn't have done that. So don't put everything in there all at once or you will waste components. Just, so you know. So your default regen potion with a potion flask, a gas tier, and a standard binding agent gets you regen 1 for 22 seconds. If you add a power catalyst and a gas tier to that, you will get regen 4 for 2 seconds. And then if you toss your greater lengthening catalyst and another gas tier into that, you end up regen 4 for 20 seconds. And that might not seem like a lot of time. However, at regen 4, it should be restoring a heart every third of a second. So 1 swig of this should be 60 hearts. If you're going the self-sacrifice route, the potion flask of regen 4 is going to be your best friend, because it is so very easy to create and refill, and with some self-sacrifice runes on your blood altar, you will generate a lot more LP from creating and using that than you will from basically any other method. You'll generate more LP from creating it than you will You will generate more LP in the process of using those hearts than it will cost to create. So that's going to be all of the time that we have for today. That is your basic introduction to blood magic alchemy, along with showing you how to make a couple of pretty cool potions. Next time, we're going to start putting that alchemy to use, and that's going to involve some demon summoning, a couple of other fun things. I need to get myself set up to expand the blood altar even further. Also next time, we're going to be completing a couple more quests in the You're a Wizard, Steve, because I got Thaumcraft going all the way up to this point. I haven't actually crafted the alchemical construct and collected my reward for that yet. However, along the way, I need to hand in a weak binding agent, a simple catalyst, and a potion flask. Why not? I'm going to want to put my good potion flasks in my bag so it doesn't accidentally take one of those. Potion flasks are really not supposed to stack, I think, but I made a stack of them at once. Manual submit that. Let's take the middle potion. Claim a reward. Full heart. I received a regen for 706 and a fire resistance for 5 minutes 20. Both pretty useful, but I'm just not a big fan of all the particle effects. I don't like potions. That flight potion, though, that'll hang on to, because that is fantastic. So, if you're enjoying the series, please like, comment, subscribe. Helps me out an awful lot. See you next time.